Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of the Hall Podcast. Today we have Bob Marjanovich, also known as the Moj. Welcome to the Hall.
Thank you. Glad to be here. You guys have quite the impressive setup. I'll say that. I mean, this is probably the nicest setup I've seen for a podcast.
That's quite a compliment coming from you, Bob. You have more miles behind the mic than I'll probably ever aspire to have.
You never know, but yeah, honestly, you guys have a nice setup. I love the vibe that you guys have here with the tools and the Milwaukee packs and all that. It's pretty cool. I like it. Funky.
So let's start at this. Let's not at the day of your birth, but did you grow up in?
Well, what I remember, it was awfully dark, and then it became light.
Yeah.
No.
Did you grow up in BC? Or?
Yeah, grew up in Westminster, right by Queen's Park,
Nice.
4th Street and 3rd Avenue. So grew up watching the Salmon Bellies in their heyday in the 70s when they get like 4,000 fans, and grew up watching the Bruins and what a run that was, 4 consecutive Western Hockey League championships, back-to-back Memorial Cups. It was crazy back then. We're talking Punch McLean, we're talking bench clearing brawls, we're talking, they used to throw a sieve on the ice when the opposition would score, and then the linesman or referee would go try to pick up the sieve, and they'd reel it back in because it's on a fishing line, right? The goalie, when the Bruins would score, everybody on one side of the building would stand up and yell, everybody in the building would yell, sieve, sieve, sieve. And then when they announced a goal, at the end of it, one side of the arena would say, rah, rah, rah. The other side would eat them up. It's funny you mention that. And I'm just going to go off on a tangent here, but I'm just start off. The craziest thing I ever saw at a Bruin game one night was a deer antler. A deer with its antlers, like the whole head, severed head thrown on the ice. And we had a reunion.
No one saw that guy walking in.
Well, here's the thing. So here's the funny story. So the Giants held a 25-year reunion for that team way back, whatever it was, 2002, 2003, and we're doing the show from the towers. And we're going through like 2-3 guests every segment. Yep. And I was talking to Punch McLean, and I said, the craziest thing I ever saw was the night the deer head got thrown on. Antlers, the whole 9 yards. Punch, no, Bobby, we never had a deer head. I go, Punch, you did. I remember. I was there. No, Bobby, no. So the funny thing is, like a couple segments later, Mark Lofthouse is on, played for the team and played a little bit in the NHL, and Lofty says, the craziest thing I ever saw was the night the deer head came on the ice. I'm getting Punch back. I'm like screaming, get Punch back here. Yeah. And then the craziest thing, the sidebar was that, so there were these 2 families in New West. I will not name them. One family was known because they're all wrestlers, and the other family was all known because they're all boxers. So a couple of these guys had gone hunting, bagged this deer, knew the guy at the rink, came through the back Queen's Park Arena, brought it in, and threw the damn thing on the ice. And I found that out that night from one of the brothers of the family. They said, yeah, that was so-and-so and so-and-so. And I'm like, oh, my gosh. So, yeah, I grew up in New West. So big thing for me growing up, like I said, was the Bruins and the Salmon Bellies. And then, of course, as I, followed the Canucks, went to my first Canuck game, I think, like 1974. Back when Reds were like $10, right? Like, it was quite the experience following the Canucks and even the Whitecaps, of course, in 78. But like with the Canucks, I remember when the Canadians would come to town, it'd be like the Rolling Stones were in town. Like radio stations would report like, Guy Lafleur sightings at Pacific Center or something like that. It was just, it was amazing. It was just the aura of the Canadians coming to town. And, as a kid, if you go to the game, it was super special because those games weren't on TV, right? Yeah. They were just, so you'd show up, at the playground the next day, and you'd have your game program, and what was it like? And you're telling guys, and it was just a different vibe. But yeah, so grew up in New West and spent a lot of my formative years around the Queen's Park area, and of course graduated from New West Secondary in 1982.
Nice.
There you go.
Yes. So then, so you're in high school. What's senior high school? You're like, all right, I'm gonna have to get a job at some point. What's like? Did you have a plan, or were you just kind of winging it?
We were talking about this beforehand. My dad was a cabinet maker, right? And he had a shop in Surrey. And I remember one day he was cutting plywood on his table saw. And this is back in the days where you didn't even wear safety goggles. They weren't even around yet.
Yeah, you did the safety squint.
He just had his glasses on, right? And at the end of cutting this plywood, he had like wood chips all over his face, his body, like he was just covered in wood chips. And he took the glasses off, wiped the wood chips off the glasses, and he looked at me and says, "This is why you will go to university." He did not want me to be a tradesman. Bad news for, of course, you guys here. My apologies, but he did not want me to do anything with trades. He's like, "This is why you're going to go to university." And he just emphasized that. My parents emphasized that all the way through. And then football kind of also played a role in that because I played lacrosse growing up. I was horrible. I wasn't that good at all. But at football, I was pretty good. So I played community football in North Delta because New West didn't have a team at that time. And I wound up, of course, eventually making my way to UBC, where I played for 3 years and then wound up coaching for 4 years. So that was a major role in my education. And I'll say one thing, it's coincidence, we just had Frank Smith's celebration of life probably about a month ago, our coach at UBC, and we talked about, I talked about the life lessons that I learned playing football, which I learned more playing football for that man and for that program than I ever did in any classroom. So all the life skills that I learned, right? So, so that's how, for me, getting out of New West and leaving New West eventually was kind of based all around that.
Well, back then, leaving New West to go to UBC, that was like probably two worlds apart. Where now it's just an hour commute.
Well, yeah, it's an hour commute, but it's a totally different world. And what I say is, New West is a really tight community, right? Like, I mean, and it's a good thing, right? I mean, still to this day, I know I still keep in touch. Sorry about that. I'm dropping your poker chips here. 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, just in case you're wondering. Great initiative by you guys. But to this day, there are 4 of us from grade 1, from John Robson. We still keep in touch. In our high school group, there's probably like about 10, 15 of us.
Nice.
That, we see each other at lacrosse games or some reunion or event. But, and that group is really tight. I'm a little bit more on the periphery of that group, but I'm still part of it. But I'm not as active as other people are in terms of seeing each other, going places, this and that, because, I kind of went a different route. But it doesn't mean that I don't look at those people as my friends, and especially the guys that I've known since grade 1. I mean, those guys, like, they're always there, and I'm always there for them as well.
Yeah, you got playground stories.
Yeah, exactly. There's some playground. Ones. Yeah, we do. Yeah.
So you UBC, and then do you have like, was radio or any of this entertainment type stuff, was that a focus, or was it just kind of general study and see where it leads? Yeah,
it's funny because I went to UBC and I didn't know what I was going to take. I took kinesiology and then poli-sci minor, and it was just I didn't really have a passion for any of it. What I always had a passion for was to do radio. That was like the goal. So while I'm at UBC, mid-90s, one of our coaches, Ross Gatensbury, was good friends with David Pratt. So he introduced me to Pratt, and then Pratt just kind of got me to do some volunteer work, which was, ironically enough, getting audio for a show. So I'd go down to the rink, and, David would be doing his TSN stuff, of course, and I'd go down there and I'd just collect audio, right? Like that sound.
Radio in hand, doing this kind of deal?
No, more like the mic with the Marantz deck and all that. We're talking old school. So, and ironically, I mean, it was the 94 Stanley Cup run. That's when I started, like that January, right? So did that and had a great time covering the 94 finals here in Vancouver. Of course, I didn't travel. And then after, I bumped into a gentleman by the name of Mike Condon, who was working for a paper called Sports View. The thing with Dave eventually kind of died out. I can't remember exact details. I think the show might have got canceled or something. I can't remember. But anyway, Mike Condon talks about writing. And, said, I'll write a fantasy baseball column for you. So it was Dr. Shark. It was a fantasy baseball column that I wrote. And after a while, Mike had an illness and eventually passed away. And the editor of the paper, Dean Washington, said, do you want to be our full-time guy? And basically be in charge of the content and, be the editor, take care of all the contributing writers, all that. So I wound up working for SportsView for probably about 4 or 5 years. I actually quit. And I was trying to figure out what I was going to do. And then Dean came back to me and says, hey, you want to do a show? A radio show? I'm like, yeah. So this was CKST at the time, 1040, the Good Life station, which the late Ron Dixon owned. Ron Dixon, if the name sounds familiar, owned the Tri-City Americans, and I think he might have owned the Bruins for a while before he moved them down there. But anyway, so he buys the airtime, and I do a 2-hour show from Monday through Friday from 4 to 6 called The Sports Zone.
Nice.
And then eventually what happens, 1 year later, Grand Slam Radio comes by with Paul Carson and Dave Stadnick and all these others, and they eventually become Team 1040.
Yep.
So when the team originally aired, was it 2000 or 2001, I was the afternoon show producer for our original afternoon show, which was Jay Triano and Paul Carson, right? So I was producer from them for like May through September, and then September, Dave and I took over the afternoon show, and then I was with Dave for 3 years. Then I went to Mojo, did my own show there for the most part, and then when that station folded, came back to 1040 and like whatever it was, 07 until the end.
Is there any, like, so you're covering all these sports. Is there any one sport that you prefer to talk about or to cover? Or
well, I mean football, right?
Yeah.
I mean, for me, because just my intricate knowledge of the game, right? So for me, it's football. I love covering the Canucks, and kind of like, it's funny because a lot of times you get, oh, he's the football guy. Well, I have been covering the team since like 1994, right? So,
yeah.
And the other thing too is I'm not one of these analytics guys. I'm more of a story guy.
Yep.
And, for me, one of my strengths is my contacts, and I have tons of contacts in hockey. I got tons of contacts in football. And for me, it's like, talking to those people a lot of times and learning things and, kind of moving forward from there. But yeah, so if I had to pick one, of course it'd be football, just like I said, given my knowledge of the game.
When you cover sports, when you think about, say 20 years ago talking about sports versus now when you're watching it. So you're watching sportcasters now, they got the earpiece in and they're just rattling off all these analytics.
Yeah.
Because there's so much data now that's recorded that, they got someone in the background spouting all this data where, yeah, there was data back in the day, but not to that degree.
Well, it's interesting. I talked to Ian McIntyre from Rogers Sportsnet, and Ian's been around since, I think, 92, covering the Canucks full time, and a very well-respected writer, one of the good guys in the business. And, it's interesting with Ian, we're talking about how it's changed, right? And it has changed dramatically. But one of the things was we've gone away from these stories about the players as human beings and, where they grew up, up there. And one of the examples I gave was Murray Barron, right? So Murray Barron was a defenseman for the Canucks way back in the early 2000s. And I remember doing a story on Barron because he was playing rep, or pardon me, he was playing house at the midget level. He was like, I think first year midget, and he was playing house. Wasn't playing rep. I mean, all the way through, and he's not playing rep. And here's a guy that, the next year, one of the coaches, Danny Moores, really believed in him, kind of, guided him, he kind of blossoms, late bloomer, goes to North Dakota, works on his game, and eventually gets to the NHL. But, it was a story, but it was a human story, like, what this guy went through. And I don't think you see those stories anymore, right? And I don't know whether it's because of the fact that maybe a lot of the younger journalists are just so focused on analytics. Maybe it's the appetite of the readership. Maybe they don't want to hear those stories. And then I think the other thing too is, I just don't think today's athlete maybe even allows you into that perspective, right? So it's different. But yeah, it's gone from talking about stories to a lot more about stories that revolve around analytics and stats.
I think you see that on some of the teams a little bit too. The people that are, regardless of their performance on the ice or on the field, depending on what their backstory is and, who they are as a person, outside of the game, that's where you see that fan following when there's, kind of some depth to it, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at Thomas Mueller of the Whitecaps, right? I mean, he comes over here and this guy he gets it. And, here's someone that has done everything that there is to do in the game of football, soccer. He's won World Cups. He's won whatever. I mean, I don't know how many trophies the guy's won, how many championships. But, he could have came over here with a holier-than-thou attitude, and he didn't. I mean, you see him out in Langley with 3,000 people watching women's soccer, right? I mean, just you could see him at a Canuck game. He's out and about. And, they lose in the MLS final, the Cup final, and there he is on Twitter, thanking the fans and just giving his honest assessment of what's transpired. So, I mean, it's unbelievable. When I look at a guy like that, and somebody on Twitter responded, well, the Whitecaps, this is who he is. The Whitecaps kind of did their due diligence. And I said to him, well, here's the thing. He is who he is in being in Munich, being like the top dog. Now he's coming to Vancouver where he might walk down the street and he might not even get recognized, right?
Yeah.
And for me, for him to come to this environment, which, it's not what it is over there, but to embrace it and become part of the community, interact with the fans and such, it's refreshing because you really don't see that much these days.
I watched my first Whitecaps game just a few weeks back. It was like the Western Final. They're playing California, I want to say.
LAFC.
Yeah.
Yeah, the game that was where they were down 2 players. I was there in the building that night. That was electric.
So Mueller scored one of the penalty shots. I think he took a penalty shot there. I think scored it. Tons of off the crossbar type stuff going on. And my first football game, sorry to the people that are really into the footy, but I didn't understand the whole red card thing. I didn't understand. I'm like, why are they down a player? Like, they down a player the whole game. And the person I was with, they're kind of really unlike the newbie, right? I'm like, oh my God, how's the game work? What's the penalties mean? And they're probably annoyed at me, but they're trying to focus. But one of the questions I asked, I'm like, well, what are these guys getting paid? Like, are these guys like kind of like on like a CFL football kind of thing? Or are these guys like kind of Canuck level money? And so, they're explaining to me there's both, right? Yeah. There's some that are, coming in at 70, 80 grand. And there's some however many million. But to see the whole team interact, right? It's like, well, that's
well, that's what, like, when you talk to a lot of the players and coaches over the years that we have, and just, one of the big things you learn with the successful teams, there's no cliques, right? And coaches and the leaders in that leadership group of a team, they include everyone. On the successful teams, they include everyone because they know at a certain point they're going to have to get something out of that guy. There's a story about Messier and the Oilers. The Oilers, when they went out as a team in the heyday, everybody went out. It wasn't just like 6 guys here, 6 guys here. No, everybody went to where we're going tonight, dinner, the whole crew comes out.
Yeah.
So one of the things that Messier talked about was the fact that, you never know when you're going to need that 3rd-line center, 4th-line winger, 7th defenseman to contribute. And you have to make sure that they're invested. They feel part of it, right?
Yeah.
And one of the biggest goals that was scored in the Oilers' history was by Kevin McClellan, who was like, whatever, the 3rd, 4th-line center, maybe winger. I think he was a center. Anyway, the story has it they're playing the Islanders in the final, and he scores a goal in the 3rd period. The Oilers, for the first time, because they'd lost to the Islanders the year before, the first time they get the feeling that, hey, we can beat these guys. Like, we can. And McClellan scores that goal, and the Oilers go on and win the series. But it was such a turning point. But, again, it wasn't a Curry, a Messier, a Gretzky, a Coffey. This was like, a guy. And that's, again, that's what the really, really good teams do and the good leaders do, is they have everybody on board and they have everybody invested, so that when they need a contribution from them, they get one.
Yeah, well, and I think if you have 20 guys that are at 70% versus 2 or 3 people at 90%, right? It's if you look at the math or however you want to look at it, you need the team, right?
Yeah.
I got young kids that play sports, and when they play teams, you see the team that the kids don't pass. There's a couple good kids like they can skate circles around most people on the team, but they're not making the passes or setting up the plays. You're not winning the games. Yeah. It's just how it cooks down.
But I think, like, when you look at chemistry and having that group that believes in one another and trusts one another, but you have to have everybody pulling on the rope. You can't have 2/3 of your team pulling on the rope, the other third ignoring it or whatever. So yeah, that's what the good leaders do. They get everybody, and they make everybody feel like their position is valued, right? So that's the other big thing.
We were talking earlier about the Jays and like obviously the season they just had, getting to the finals, and how the team, you see the team and you see the chemistry, you see all the stuff going on, and probably a big part of why they got there, right?
And you talk about that. I mean, all you need to know about the Jays is look at the emotion that was shown by a whole bunch of their players during the season-ending interviews, right? And they're talking about their teammates.
Yeah.
And that's the tough part about losing when you have that sort of investment, because you know that group that you had is not coming back. It's going to be different no matter what. I mean, I don't care if you're a champion. I don't care if you've it's going to be different. That group of guys that you had, those 25 guys, maybe next year you have 20 back or 17 or whatever the number, but it's not going to be the same 20 or probably 26 guys now in baseball. It tells you how old I am. I'm still thinking 25-man rosters. So, but you have change. And that's the toughest part sometimes, is because you know that you've played your last game with maybe this player or that player, whatever the case may be.
We see the exact same thing, to tie it in with the Hall, is the job site. There's certain jobs, construction projects. Some of them are, new build, start and finish. Other stuff, we have like a shutdown where it's every year that same scope of work more or less kind of goes on for, call it 6-8 weeks, whatever.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. Like, I mean, you're on a job, a project, whatever. I don't know the length of time, but say you're working with the same crew for like about a year and a half, building a high rise, whatever the case may be, whatever. And then at the end, it's like those bonds that you have.
Yep.
It's now that's over until maybe you cross paths down the road. But that group of guys, or guys and ladies, pardon me, that worked on that job.
Yep.
Yeah. Now it's going to be different. And yeah, of course, there's always going to be emotion with that, especially when you, like I said, develop those bonds and you get invested.
Is there any one team, like who's your team? Like if you're going out, you're going to watch a game, what's your last dollar? What ticket are you buying?
Oh, what ticket am I buying? And you're talking anywhere?
Whatever.
Anywhere. Even though I'm not here's the thing. When I was a kid, I rooted for teams, right? Now I root for people. Okay. Right? It's like, if there's somebody in the final that I know, might have played my golf tournament or I might have crossed paths with, I'm rooting for them.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily rooting for the team. So I don't know if there's like, quote, a team that I want to go watch or do. But if I had to say one thing, maybe just go, I love Chicago. Just, getting a ticket, sitting in the bleachers and just watching the Cubs or behind home plate on a nice sunny day, just relaxing. I mean, if I have one last game to go to, that would probably be it. Just chilling, right? So that would probably be it. Probably Wrigley Field.
You're talking about like New West and growing up there in like Queens Park. Obviously, it's an iconic arena. It's been probably one of the oldest arenas around, I'd imagine, in the Lower Mainland.
Yeah, 30s. It was built in the 30s at some point, I think.
So, I got the option to go, Canucks tickets or whatever, or go watch my kids play minor hockey, house hockey. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to watch house hockey. It's just something about being in these places and just, being a part of that.
Better seats, cheaper seats.
Yeah.
And here's the thing that I know you guys have had Taylor on, and Taylor is pretty smart. And Donnie always mentions this. When you're watching, what makes hockey exciting a lot of times are mistakes. And when you watch it at a younger level, there are a lot of mistakes, and you have a lot of entertainment. I remember watching one of my buddy's kids when he was probably like 9 years old at 8 Rinks, Scotia Barn, whatever that's called now. And I'm watching this game going, this is pretty cool, right? But it's also bizarre sometimes because you get to see some parents act in ways that they shouldn't act. You know what I mean? Screaming, yelling. I remember one kid, or probably one parent, one father, was in the bleachers, like, in the stands. I shouldn't say bleachers, stands. And he's like yelling at his kid the entire time. He's instructing him, Johnny, pass it. No, Johnny, move up the wing. Johnny, go to the open space. Johnny, behind the net. And I'm just like, I just felt like walking over to him and saying, dude, shut up. Just let your kid play. Yeah. Right? I mean, he's out there. He's a kid. He doesn't need you the pressure of you screaming every time he's on the ice telling him what to do. Like, I mean, it was embarrassing. Yeah. But, I don't know. I've never been involved in minor hockey. I had a daughter, so she never played minor hockey. But, I know people that have had kids that have played minor hockey, and I've heard some of the horror stories, and I'm just like, man, given my temperament at, say, 35, wouldn't have been a good mix.
Bob, you've been banned from the rink.
And I wouldn't be one of those people that, be the bad parent. I'd be the guy that say something to one of those people.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, it's you cringe every once in a while, or you hear something and you're like, oh, did they just say that?
Yeah.
But,
It's stupid.
oh, we got someone on set here. Okay. Technical difficulties. We are a ragtag bunch here.
Oh, it's fine. It's all good.
So,
I did a segment one time from my car.
yeah, what kind of car was it?
Well, it's the Mazda Tribute that I had at the time from West Coast Auto Group. Still have that relationship 25 years. So we're doing a remote at the P&E. You want to talk about technical difficulties? Here's one for you. Doing a remote from the P&E, and the power goes out at the P&E on a Saturday. We don't know when the power's going to come back. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, we've got Pat Quinn coming up in the next segment. So I phoned our producer. I said, listen, I'm going to drive back, and I'll interview Pat while I'm driving back. Mm-hmm. So I come back. I'm literally doing a segment driving the tribute back to our studios from the P&E. And I'm interviewing Pat Quinn. And I think he just got the Order of Canada or something like that. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I'm interviewing Pat Quinn, and all of a sudden this fire truck goes by. And it's just like the horns are blaring, the full 9 yards. And you hear Pat on the other end, hey, Mo, is everything okay? I'm like, yeah, everything's good. Just had a fire truck go by. But, yeah, that was – you talk about technical difficulties. There's one for you. And the other one this one to this day, if you ask Barry McDonald, will piss him off. It pisses me off too. So we went down to Riviera Maya with a Team 1040, TSN 1040 junket. And we had all our listeners down there. And we were doing the midday show. And because of the time difference and the sunlight at that time of the year is in the winter, we really didn't have a chance to experience, the warmth of the day. Like, we'd get in there like at 10 or 11. We'd get out at like 3, and then the sun would go down at 4:30 or 5. So BMAC and I are in there one day, and we walk in, and our engineer, John Bolwit, says, I can't get a connection. And he tries, and he's trying to get a connection to the station. We can't get a connection. We pack up. We've put our laptops in our suitcases, and we're almost out the door, and we're thinking to ourselves, hey, man, we're going to get a chance to just lie in the sun today and do stuff and have some fun. Hey, I got the connection back. And I looked at Barry. Barry looked at me, and I was like, so we actually came up with a verb. It's called to be bullwitted. That's when you have an employee that goes above and beyond when he shouldn't. So that's the term that we came up to be bullwitted. But, yeah, so that was another technical difficulty story for you.
We had a big space at the P&E not this last summer, but the summer prior, and I can get into all stories about the power. I'm trying to get the power set up, and that's it.
Yeah, it was like I said, it was an interesting day that day, driving and interviewing Pat at the same time.
So, Mark's telling me that you're a bit of a foodie. I don't know what that means, or if that's someone just likes eating, but. Is there a story there? Is that?
Oh yeah, I like really good food. Always have. I mean, my house when I was a kid, my mom being Serbian, it was when guys came over to my place, and all the guys love my mom. You didn't get a bowl of chips with sour cream. You got steak, potatoes, you got soup, you got bread, whatever. Right? It was like a 3-course meal.
Yeah.
So, everybody loved coming over to my place, doing whatever we're doing back in the day, playing road hockey. A lot of times we'd play these board games called Stratomatic and, whatever. But guys loved coming over to my place. And that's just the culture that I grew up with, right? So loving food. My mom actually worked as a prep chef or a prep cook at the Four Seasons for many years. And, yeah, so for me, I love food and always have, and I will never turn down a really good meal. And I love trying new stuff too. That's the other thing, right? So just quick plug. The other day I went downtown and had a burger, smash burger, between two buns, I believe it's called. I should know this. Anyway, it was amazing, right? So, between two buns burgers. It's on Pender. And amazing, right? And I like I said, I just love trying out different foods. So if you want to classify me as a foodie, I am.
Yeah. What's your go-to at home? Is that?
Well, I've been told I make the best jambalaya this side of New Orleans. So my jambalaya is my go-to dish. It's it's good.
It's
excellent.
Is there a Serbian equivalent to jambalaya?
Oh no, there's not a Serbian equivalent, but there's
It's,
definitely, like, my Serbian go-to dish is called cevapcica.
okay.
They are these cigar-shaped hot dogs, like not big, but
Yep.
like probably like 3 inches in length, and they made of veal, beef, lamb. It depends. I mean, you can depend on whatever mixture you have with spices, and you put them on the grill, and then you serve them with a Serbian type of bread called lapinja, and you have ivar, which is like a red pepper relish, and then just raw onions, and away you go.
I can smell
that's
it
the
right
Serbian.
now.
That's the Serbian go-to dish right there. A little cevap with lapinja, ivar, and luka.
I think that was the problem at 1040.
I just went Serb on you, didn't I?
I think that was the problem at 1040. That you used to always complain about your smell.
Oh, that was Henderson. Henderson would always complain about everything, right? I mean, Ryan's a ham and cheese guy, right? So anytime there was any sort of different aroma other than ham and cheese, he would complain. One time Taylor complained, it wasn't even me. It was like, he said something like, I didn't have fish. And I got laid, oh, you bring fish. No, it wasn't fish. I can't remember what it was, but it wasn't fish. It wasn't even me, I don't think, that stunk the place up. So anyway.
Lunchroom antics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what was so career-wise now, what are you doing? Are you taking it easy?
Play-by-play for the Lions.
Yeah.
Writing a couple of columns a week for Black Press, which is a lot of fun. Go to the games, and during the season I write about the Lions. Obviously during the off season, do a lot of stuff on the Canucks, do some feature stuff as well. So writing for them, trying to build up a little bit of a Twitter following with some of the stuff that I'm doing there. I've kind of initiated this thing called Walking You Through It, which I really enjoy. It's funny, in the last 2 weeks I've taken up walking, and I love it. Like, I'm up to like 15,000 steps a day, and as part of that I just kind of incorporate that little video. So yeah, so doing that, doing the line stuff, got a couple of other projects that I'm just in the midst of right now, like setting up. So we'll see how that goes. Of course, we do the Super Bowl every year. That's going to take up a lot of time as we go down to San Francisco for the Super Bowl, and do our shows from Radio Row. And the other thing that I'm doing this year is I've got the Mode Shootout back in circulation. It's a golf tournament that I hosted for 11 years, as Taylor would call it, the Big Bang, up in Kelowna. And this year, as part of Touchdown Kelowna with the Lions, we are bringing that tournament back with the backing of Mr. Doman and Dwayne Vanu and the Lions organization. So that's going to take up a lot of time, but that's a lot of fun as well. So really looking forward to getting that thing cranked up and back on the road again.
Where are you going to play at?
The Harvest.
I don't think I've been.
Yeah, Harvest is a great course. There's obviously a lot of great courses in that area. Bear and the Quail, Gallagher's Canyon, the Rise, Tower Ranch. I mean, there's so many great courses. But the one thing I like about the Harvest, it's wide open, right? So a lot of times when you play a mountain course and you're in a tournament, you will see a whole bunch of people at the clubhouse, you go out onto the course, and then you don't see anybody anymore. Right? Other than the group that you're in.
Yeah.
But the cool thing about the Harvest, because of the layout, it's like you can, hey, there's so-and-so, and you can chirp them, and then you see some other guys. And so it's a really good track in terms of the openness, and you feel the energy because you're not secluded from it. You're hearing laughter on this hole. You're hearing music on this hole. You're hearing guys screaming on that hole. So the energy just snowballs, and it's a great tournament track. And Gilles Dufour and the entire crew up there, Tamara Graham and the rest of them are amazing to work with. So I'm really looking forward to having that event again this year.
Yeah, we'll have to try to hustle ourselves, try to get a foursome in there. We did a large group at Tower last summer, and it's like secluded, right? You're kind of off on your own, right? It's for a lot of the course, right?
Yeah, and like I said, with the mountain courses, that's what happens. It's not like it's bad courses, but I think for a tournament, I like the tournament, having the situation where you can see people and you can feel that energy. And we play a different format too. We play eightsomes, which it's a longer day. But no one ever complains because they're having too much fun on the golf course with everything that we have set up. But so your group tees off, my group tees off. Your group's 150 out. You guys will hit 150 out. My group might be 130. We'll hit 130. We'll meet on the green. You guys putt, we putt. right?
Yep.
So with eightsomes, it does take longer, but it's way more social.
Yeah,
Like now
absolutely.
you're playing with like 8 people, right? Rather than just
That's
4.
That's a party.
Oh yeah, exactly. And that's why nobody ever complains about it. And plus the other thing too is, yeah, it's going to be a long day, but we've got stuff on every hole, right?
Yep.
So people are having fun. They're eating, they're drinking, they're whatever, right? So it's a lot of fun. It's a great time.
Yeah, no, I've been to many awesome golf courses, and none of which I have any business playing on, and so I never ever complain. You know, it's like, oh, it's really hot, or I'm like, no, man, like this is incredible.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I was golfing, and I'm not going to name drop, but the players that I was playing with was prior to Tom Gallardi's tournament, the Sandman Harvest, which is the tournament that I actually modeled mine after. And they stopped the Sandman Harvest, whatever, like 15 years ago. So anyway, prior to that tournament, I was playing with a couple of NHLers, and we were playing the Rise, right? And, we're playing on that mountain that day, and I'm thinking to myself, man, I go, look at this. I go, never mind you guys hitting the jackpot. I've hit the jackpot. We're out here playing golf on a beautiful sunny day, beautiful views. And I said, there's people out there right now that are, being persecuted, don't have shelter, don't have water, don't have food, being persecuted for whatever beliefs they stand in, they could be in jail, this, that. I go, and here we are, like, golfing on top of this beautiful mountain today, safe, sound, and just, sometimes I think, I just think sometimes we really have to look at things and put them in perspective.
Yeah.
Right? People are talking about the Lotto Max, 70 million. Oh, it'd be great. Hey, you don't realize it? You've already hit the Lotto Max. Think about where we live in our country compared to, some of the third world countries that, people don't have electricity. They don't have shelter. They don't have water. We had the Lions and the CFL have this initiative. They team up with World Vision Canada. Yep. And they went to, I think it was Kenya last year, and they were in Africa. And, they talk about women walking like 4 or 5 kilometers just to get water for the day, right? I mean, think about that. So, yeah, I mean, we've already hit the jackpot.
Yeah, we're doing pretty good. Yeah. We're pretty fortunate to live where we live. That's a fact. You mentioned earlier they're doing a radio show at the Super Bowl. So how many Super Bowls have you attended?
I want to say it's their 25th year this year.
Wow.
So everyone since 2000. We missed one because of COVID. So if this is 2025 and you're including 2000, this will be our 25th year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Any one stand out more than the other?
The first one. I mean, that's pretty cool. The first one kind of stood out. First one was in New Orleans. Second one was in San Diego. But the first one in New Orleans was Rams Patriots, which is where it all kind of started. So it's funny. One thing that I remember of that Super Bowl, so the way they had the availability back then is, and they still do, you go to the team hotel and they have all the big stars are on these podiums, the risers, right? And everybody kind of clamors around trying to get audio from them. And then the rest of the team just kind of 3 or 4 guys just sitting at a table, right? Like 3 or 4 guys at this table. This table might have 3 guys. Well, it's the 3rd or 4th string receiver, 5th string receiver, not too much to go there. But anyway, this one guy was sitting there, and I said, hey, do you mind doing our morning show? So Bill Courage and John Connors were doing our morning show at the time. Or maybe it was Bob's. It was Courage and Connors, I think. Can't remember who it was. Anyway, we get him to come on. It was Adam Vinatieri, who goes out and kicks the game-winning field goal in that Super Bowl. Yeah. And nobody was around Vinatieri. Nobody was talking. He was a kicker, right? Well, the funny thing is, every Super Bowl after that, Vinatieri was at a podium. Like, he was on one of those risers, right? Now he was a somebody. Yeah. Whereas that very first Super Bowl, he was just kind of like, he hadn't done anything yet. And just like I said, it was a cool story because, here's our morning show having the guy who would eventually be the hero at the end of the day. And another funny story about that first Super Bowl. So young, naive reporter that I am, different times. And I'm waiting for Brady. I want to get my one-on-one with Brady, right? Just And Brady was like a deer in headlights. He was like, this is before he became a corporation, right? With and all that. And he's like, hey, I got to go do TV, but I'll meet you back here, right? So I go, okay, whatever. Right? So I'm kind of waiting. He goes out, he did all the stuff in the locker room. Then he goes out to the TV, does all the stuff with the TVs, like 2 or 3 TV interviews because they all have their sets lined up on the field. Then he comes back. He goes, I got to take a shower. He goes, you want to do it after? We'll do it when I come out. Okay, fine. So he comes out of the shower, and now this building, the Superdome, is empty. And we have to walk to his car, which is at the other end zone. So we're literally start from one end zone, and we're walking across, and I guess there's about 10, 12 yellow jackets around us, the security people. Mm-hmm. And I'm interviewing Brady, like with the Morants, and I'm interviewing him. This one-on-one in this empty Super Bowl, confetti all over the place, security guards, and did the interview at the end of it. Hey, thanks a lot. That was really good. I thought, that was really cool, right?
Yeah.
So a few years later, I bump into Brady again, and I go, hey, I got to ask you. I go, do you remember doing that interview, crossing the field after you? No. I'm just like, dude, it's like one of my highlights, right? Yeah. You don't even remember doing it. Yeah, but that first Super Bowl, I mean, the first one, whatever, first anything is always special. But, yeah, that was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, those unique experiences, well, they're different for everybody, right? You think of him after a long day of work, right?
Yeah.
Kind of scenario. But, yeah, it's you never know what you got.
There have been a lot of unique experiences over the years. Like, I mean, somebody told me you should write a book. I go, books don't make money. But yeah, there's been a lot of really different, things that have happened all over the place. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Mark, you got anything from the side there? So we were gonna do a cigar segment, which we've passed on, but let's talk cigars. Is that a pastime that's come around later in life, or how?
So I never smoked cigars until I started golfing, and I didn't start golfing until I was like probably about 40.
Yeah, this is a story of my life right here.
So I started smoking cigars. I remember playing in a tournament one time, and I'd gotten somebody giving me cigars like in a plastic wrapper. Uh-huh. And I'm golfing with these Italian dudes. And I'm like, what are you doing? Because those aren't cigars. These are cigars. And he had like a humidor in his bag. And he opens it up, and there's nothing but Cubans, right? Uh-huh. Well, now now it's got to be Cuban or bust.
Yeah.
So I smoke Cuban. I started smoking Cubans all the time, and just kind of grew into it. But the sad part about the Cubans is, like, after COVID, they've just become so expensive. Like what you used to pay like $35 a stick is now like 50, 60, right? I mean, it's just
expensive habit.
Yeah, it's become super expensive to smoke Cubans. And never mind that, it's just the other thing too is just trying to find Cuban sticks. Like the availability has changed. But I'll tell you a good cigar story because you guys like stories, right? So when I was working at Mojo, we would have the old CKNW Crystal Palace out at remember the big RV that was like a roaming studio? Mm-hmm. So we do our pregame shows from the P&E at the Coliseum prior to the Giants playoff run. That was, I think, 06. It's the year they went to Moncton. So prior to the first game, Dale Sipe, who's I think he's like the Giants director of operations. I don't know what Dale's title is, but he's up there and he's always been with the organization. He says, hey, let's smoke a sticks. Yeah, okay, finish the show, got an hour before the game. Pre-game show's on, we're done, and we smoke these cigars. Like, these aren't cigars. Like, I'll bring some. I said, I'll bring the cigars next time.
Yeah.
So the next round shows up. I bring the cigars. Hey, Giants win the series. Third series. Hey, prior to the first game, smoke a cigar. So we smoked 4 sets of cigars all the way through the finals, and they won every series. Mm-hmm. So it was like, now it's our ritual.
You can't stop.
So now they go to Moncton, right? And the 3 guys that smoked prior to the games were myself, Dale Sipe, and Mike Charters, who was worked with the Giants in the financial side. And Dale says to me, he goes, yeah, Moncton. He goes, it's going to be me, you, and Pat. I go, Pat. He goes, Pat Quinn. I go, oh, okay. I go, what happened to Charters? He goes, Mike's not making the trip. So, okay. So he goes, bring some sticks. I go, okay. So I land, and my phone rings. And it's not even a, hey, how are you? How was your flight? Mm-hmm. It's Dale on the other end. Did you bring the sticks? Yeah, I got the cigars. Like, thank you for asking if I had, safe flight or whatever, right? So then we decide that we're going to smoke these cigars prior to the Giants' first game. And I give Pat this big, I knew because Pat was coming, I got this big, huge-ass signal, like probably like, I don't know, like 7, 8 inches long. And I give this to Pat. Meanwhile, his wife, Sandra, He was like, Pat, you shouldn't be smoking. You know what the doctors told you? Relax, Sandra. It's just one cigar, right? So he winds up smoking this cigar, maybe like about a third of it, if that, and he clips it, and now he's done with it, right? And then, we go in. So as the week progresses, anytime you see Pat that week, he's chewing on this cigar. He's not even smoking it. He's just sucking the juices out of it. So the entire week, he's got a cigar stuck to his mouth, smoking it, I guess, maybe a little bit every night. But it was, like I said, it was a big cigar. So he's just literally like gnawing on this thing the entire week. And we go to this pub called the Old Triangle in Moncton. And all of a sudden, here comes Callie Quinn, Pat's daughter. And she's just hotter than a firecracker. She looks at me. She says, did you give my dad a cigar? I'm like, yeah. Do you give an alcoholic a drink? No. What are you doing giving my dad a cigar? And she's just screaming out, yelling. And meanwhile, Pat's wife, Sandra, is right behind Callie, the daughter. And she's like pointing at me, and they're both screaming and yelling. And I look over, and I see Pat. And Pat might be like, I don't know, maybe from here where that monitor is, whatever, like 10 yards, 30 feet away. Yeah. He's sitting at a table, drinking a pint of beer, watching the game on TV, and he looks at me. Can we swear on this podcast?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
He's got this shit-eating grin on his face, and he's like, just laughing. And I look at him, I'm like, as they're yelling at me, I look at him, and I'm like, what the F going on? I go, you don't even run your family. You're supposed to be the man's man. I go, coach of the Olympic team, coach of the Canucks, this, that. I go, you don't even run your family. And he's just sitting there laughing his ass off as I'm getting chewed out by his wife and his daughter. So there's a cigar story for you.
Yeah, I have no concept of cigars that are good or that are bad, but it's golfing in certain company is when the cigars come out, and it's slowly starting to grow.
The one thing I like about cigars, and I don't smoke as many Cubans as I do. I got these Nicaraguans, the Olivas. They're nice, and for the price point, I'll smoke them rather than $60 Cuban. But the cool thing about cigars that I find, it's just the breathing, right? It's just you're just unwinding. So many people. Oh, I tried cigars. I don't like it. Did you inhale? Yeah. Don't inhale. You don't inhale cigars. But it's just, it's just the breathing, the relaxation, and just getting that little peppery smell up your nose sometimes. So yeah, just, they're my passion. I probably smoke when I'm not golfing, probably a couple a week. Like in the summer, the more I golf, I'll probably smoke one. During my tournament, I will say this, I might have smoked probably like 7, 8 in one day.
It's an expensive day.
Oh, I felt like a camel had taken a turd in my mouth at the end of it. But yeah, that's those days. Like there's 6, 7, 8 cigars that I went through.
Well, that's the thing with smoking a cigar. Generally, at least for me, it's like an experience because it's you're with people. It's a group setting or whatever. It's on the golf course or hanging out with the boys kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's not just like I'm just gonna smoke.
Actually, I'll smoke
myself.
a cigar by myself a lot of times. Yeah. Like it doesn't have to be with people. Like I said, like now I'm into walking. It's funny. I was talking to one of the foremen, big staff working on our building. I said, is it counterproductive to go for a walk and, thinking about your health and while you're smoking a cigar? He goes, hell no. I go, good. Okay, done.
Neutral balance.
Exactly. Go for a half-hour walk and smoke your cigar while you're doing it. It's all good.
So when you're out walking, is it, unless you're like creating content or anything, is it headphones on or?
Music sometimes podcasts, just sometimes thinking, right? Yeah. Like thinking, maybe a story idea, thinking about things, thinking things through, just so. It's either thinking, sometimes we'll just, play me the so-and-so essentials, right?
Yep.
Other times it might be listen to a podcast. So hey, it's just, it's like I said, for me, it's just it's a really cool thing that I've gotten into lately, and I love it because it's unwind time, right?
Yeah. I like it like early, like if it's, before work, this time of year, especially it's dark out and just no music, no nothing, just walk.
Yeah.
Just be in your head. Right.
Like I said, I go basically 3 times because I can't do 15 at once, like 15,000.
No.
Because of my knees they start barking.
Yeah.
So I'll do like 4, 5 and come back. And then, in the afternoon I'll do in the morning, I'll do 4 or 5. And in the afternoon I'll do 4 or 5, maybe after lunch. And then, at night after I eat, go for another walk. That's the key thing I think that I've been told and that I've seen is like try to do it after you eat to kind of help the digestion and all that. So it's weird because like at one point, when I played football, it was 238. Then I stopped. And I got at one point, I was like, I'm not joking, I got close to 3 bills, right?
Yeah, your knees are screaming at you.
And then I got down to 270, 265. And then I got to 250, right? And then kind of got back up to 250. I'm not going to name the player. He's an NHL player from the Lower Mainland. So we were at this, it was the Shea Weber, Cody Franson golf tournament. And all the young bucks are on a party boat, all the young players, and you know the bud girls are there, and there's probably like about 5 to 10 older guys, like sponsors. I was the MC, sponsors, this, that. So I remember talking to this young player, who you would know if I mentioned his name. So anyway, I'm just saying, you know, this is what happens when you get old. I go, if I had to, I'd get back down to 250. He goes, there's no way you get to 250. I go, oh yeah, I get to 250 if I had to. I go, still got it. He goes, no. He goes, I go, how much you want to bet? I said, what odds do you give me? He goes, 5 to 1. I go, I'll bet you, I said, $200 to your 1,000. He goes, you're on. I said, my tournament next year, you show up at my tournament, I'll be 250. He goes, you're on. So next 6 months, I'm just like, you know, training this, that. I go from like whatever, it was 265, 270. And my tournament, I'm like 248, 249, probably the same weight I am now. And he sees me, and he just looks at me, and he gets his wallet out and just starts flipping the hundreds, right? So, no, pardon me, it wasn't 5, it was 25. It was 500 to his 25. I put down my 500 to his 25. So 25 brown bears, just boom, 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 boom. So I won the bet. So the funny thing is, everybody's like, "Oh, you look amazing. Did you do it for your health? Did you do it for your kids?" Like all of these reasons, like, you know, that you would think that would make sense.
No.
F no, man.
To prove him wrong.
It's just like cash. That's the best motivator on the planet. It had nothing to do with, you know, oh, did you do it so, you know, your health and you be around your kids longer? And, oh, did you do it because you feel better, like, you know, your self-worth? No. Cash. That's what got me motivated. And anyway, so he wound up paying me. So, yeah, that's how it got down. And then I started to creep up like 265. But now probably like the last 2-3 weeks, probably like 248, 249. So I feel good.
Well, I think you'll find with the walking, that's good for a couple pounds a week probably if you keep that up.
Yeah, the crazy thing is I haven't taken any time off. Like every day, right? I'm just like, you know, they're saying, oh, maybe you should take, I'm thinking my knees start barking, but it hasn't been that much of a problem yet, but I really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, it's as you lose the weight, the knees sort of be like, oh, it's better. Right?
Oh, yeah. That's one thing I definitely noticed, even like previously, your knees and your back, so much better in terms of being lighter. So, yeah, that's another byproduct of it.
Awesome. Well, do you have any final words you want to part with?
Final words that I want to part with. Well, seeing how we're talking about all these young people that are making these decisions and getting an education and doing all that, I'll just say this. If you're listening and you're thinking about what you're doing, just find something in life that you love doing, right? And if you do that, you will never work a day in your life, right? So that's the king. For me, I'm lucky that way. I've never worked a day in my life. It's like, you know, Taylor will tell you, anybody who's in the business, they're going to pay us for this. They really don't have to, but we'll take the money anyway. But that's the thing. I mean, I think if you want to be happy, find something that you love doing. And like I said, if you do, you'll be one of those lucky people that has never worked a day in their life. Those
are very wise words. And it's, you know, for the
shock you.
Yeah, no, it hit me deep. Yeah. You know, it's funny how you hear some things and you think it's cliche or whatever, right? It's when older people are talking, you know, and I'm getting older myself as well, but I've always listened because I'm like, they got that tenure, they got that, you know, it's coming from a place where it's like, no, I've lived that. Yeah. You know, when I can say, like, you know, you're saying you've loved your career, you've loved going in, you know, whatever, you know, because you've gone through a few different things. There are days
that when I was at 1040, I would be driving over the Canby Street Bridge, music cranked, windows down at 9:15 in the morning, smoking a cigar and just like singing away and going, how lucky am I? Trust me. Yeah. I've always looked at it and, you know, even doing the Lions play-by-play now. Like, you I'm walking around. I was in Saskatchewan. I think I posted it and just said, always grateful. Like, here I am, in Saskatchewan, and I'm calling Lions games, listening. And I think of, like, when I was a kid, listening to Jim Cox and Jim Robson and J. Paul McConnell and, all these great broadcasters. And, it's just like now I'm one of those broadcasters on CKNW, and it's just like, whoa, this can't be right. But, it's, again, you realize how lucky you are and how grateful you are to be in that situation.
When you think of the countless events you've attended, the friendships you've made, the athletes you've met or been introduced to, and just the different things that come with that, right?
Well, I'll tell you one that really was cool. So when I was a kid, I was a huge Canuck fan. My dad was a huge Canadiens fan, right? Because of the Marjanovich brothers. So anyway, he loved the Canadiens. I liked the Canucks, and it would be like a civil war in our house, right? I'd watch downstairs, he'd be upstairs, or vice versa, right? We'd never watch the room. I'm like 8, 9 years old, whatever. No, this is, I'm not watching you. You're cheering for the other guys. So it was like this huge civil war all the time, right? And if anybody knows, well, people that don't know, I should say, I shouldn't assume, but the Canucks, the first 7 or 8 years in the league, did not beat the Canadiens in the regular season. They beat them once in the 74, 75 playoffs, I believe. But in the regular season, they did not beat the Canadiens until like 1978. I think the stretch was something like 31-7, something like that. Because remember, they didn't play just 2 games a year back then. Less teams. They'd wind up playing 4 or 5 games against each other all year long. So anyway, it's like 30. It was in the 30s. They hadn't beat the Canadiens.
Take that, Dad.
Yeah, well, they finally beat the Canadiens. So anyway, but one of the really cool things, I lost my dad in 1983. Long time. I was 19. And one of the really cool things was Guy Lafleur stopped by Mojo. And he was doing he was promoting men's health awareness, right? They were doing a campaign. So we had him in the studio. And I told him the story, what I just told you, right?
Yeah.
And he kind of chuckled. We had a good laugh about it. And he was such a great interview. And I thought to myself at the end of that day, I'm like, geez, I wonder what my dad would be thinking right now. Like, I just interviewed Guy Lafleur, right?
Yeah.
Same thing happened when I interviewed Bobby Orr. Like, what would my dad be thinking? Like, just finished interviewing these guys that we used to watch on TV growing up. And Lafleur was such a nice man. There's an Orr story here, too, you'll love. But anyway, Lafleur was such a nice man. About 2-3 weeks later, I get a manila envelope, right? And it's an autographed glossy from Guy Lafleur. And it says, to Bob, best wishes, Guy Lafleur. And he sent a note, said, hey, sorry about all the problems that caused, like when you're a kid, or like I was talking about the stuff. So really cool thing with
down to earth human being.
And the Bobby Orr story, this is another one that's a doozy. So we were at Pat Quinn's in Tawasin, the restaurant, right at Tawasin Golf Course. Me, Donnie, and BMAC were doing the show, and Bobby Orr was there. They were celebrating, Pat's career in his life. I want to say it was after Pat had passed. Anyway, I brought the cigars out, right? Taylor and BMAC, those cigars, they stink. They're anti-cigar guys, right? And they'd sit there and they'd bitch and complain about the cigars and, the smell sometimes and this and that. So Bobby Orr shows up, right? I've got a stick right in front of me, like we're sitting here right now. I've got a cigar right in front of me. And we're interviewing it. Halfway through the interview, Bobby looks at me and goes, like he's pointing his finger, goes, can I take the cigar? Right? I roll over the cigar and I look over to BMAC and Taylor and I go, there you go, boys. There's your anti-cigar thing. And so Bobby actually wound up taking the cigar. I gave it to him, but, it was kind of funny because he was just, like I said, he was eyeing it the whole time, and then halfway through, he just kind of points and goes, can I have that? Yeah, okay, go ahead. So, yeah.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, you're not going to be like, no, you can't. Like
no.
You'd be amazed. Around for
you
a
would
light.
be amazed at the power of the cigar. We have a time limit, or am I just going to keep rambling till 8 o'clock? So, the best cigar story, and I've told this one a few times, but I'll tell you guys. So we go to the Super Bowl every year, obviously, and Joe Montana is there. And we can never get Joe Montana. He's with this guy who I know used to be a PR guy in the NHL. And I go, hey, any chance of Joe? He goes, no. He goes, Joe's doing NFL Network. He's doing Rome. He's doing Sirius. He's doing so-and-so. And then he's out of here, right? Like 4 or 5 shows gone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, no big. So one year we show up and Joe is doing interviews and he's not with the suits. Like usually has like this 5-person PR team.
Yeah.
He's with this young lady. And at Radio Row, just about everybody that's there is usually pitching something.
Mm-hmm.
So I walk up to this young lady. I say, "You with Joe?" She says, "Yes, I am." I go, "What's Joe pitching today?" She goes, "Haas avocados." I go, "Oh, okay, right." So, I said, do you have any openings? Yeah, we have an opening at 145. I'd love to have Joe. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking to myself, this is the day we get Montana. This is going to be so good. Mm-hmm. So we were on we had him after the Kansas City show. So I walk over to the Kansas City table. They're interviewing him. And I walk up to the young lady. I said, I'm just here to get Joe and bring him over to our table after he's done. She goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry." He goes, "He's out of here after this." I go, well, no, we're next. She goes, "No, we only had him till 2 o'clock, and it's past 2 now. The only reason he's doing this show is because he played with these guys in KC. I'm like, "But we're next." She's like, "I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do. He's out of here too." I'm just like, this is our one chance. We're finally getting Montana. Yeah. So anyway, I go back to my table. I grab a huge Cohiba, come back. And as he's finishing his interview, he gets up, starts walking. I go, "Hey, Joe, how you doing? Bob Marjanovich from Vancouver. We're supposed to have you next." I go, "Are you back tomorrow by any chance?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm back tomorrow." I said, "Do you like cigars?" He goes, "Love cigars." I go, "This is a marker for tomorrow." He grabs his Cohiba out of my hand, looks at me, slaps me on the shoulder. He says, "I'll see you tomorrow." So the next day shows up, and now he's with the suits, like,
his handlers.
Exactly. So I see this guy, he's walking up, he looks at me, I said, he goes, "Just so you know, Joe's doing NFL Network, he's doing Rome, he's doing Sirius, blah, blah, and he's doing you last." And we got Montana. And we got Montana every time after that. And every year he shows up, we bring him his sticks. He's been to Vancouver a couple times for events. Yep. He was up here for the JCC with Jerry Rice. He was here for another event a couple of years ago with Terry Bradshaw. We always meet up, drop off sticks. Just a great guy, like just so nice. Yeah, I've introduced him to Amar Doman, our owner with the Lions, and we're going to try to get him up here at some point for a Lions game as well. But just so down to earth, such a nice man, and that whole relationship just started over a cigar, right? So There you go, the power of cigars.
Well, I think, Mark, that's what we'll call this episode: the power of the sticks.
There you go.
Yeah. That's what Mark's saying. That's how we lured you in. The promise of
that and the Cajun chicken sandwich.
Yeah.
Right. So there
shout out to bread and cheese.
Yeah, bread and cheese. Great Cajun chicken sandwich.
These are a gift from the director of the school.
Thank you.
So you're a big cigar enthusiast. Unfortunately, we can't smoke them today, but
beautiful smell. Love it. Thank you, Will. You're my guy. He gives me 2 cigars a week. Do you need a co-host?
I remember reading a story about it was like an insurance thing where some guy had some, collection of cigars worth, whatever amount of money, and had them insured, but then smoked them and claimed them under insurance as a series of small fires. And whether it's folklore or whatever it was, I think in the end it didn't play out for him, but you tried at least.
Yeah, there you go. That's what you call being creative.
Yeah, a series of small fires. So I guess we're also going to do, before we go, or Mark's telling me, he's pointing at me, we're going to do a giveaway, right? So I can't remember 2 hours ago.
That's the Milwaukee hoodie, the Milwaukee hat, and the Milwaukee cooler.
Yeah.
See? That's the giveaway.
So to get entered in the draw, you are going to hashtag the Moj, which is
what's your handle?
At the Real Moj on X and on Instagram.
There you go. At the Real Moj, and Moj is MOJ. And you'll be entered into the draw to win that. Is it as a package, all 3? Awesome. I want to thank you for coming in today, Bob.
No problem. Thanks for having me. It was fun.
This was a
little bit of a drop-off since you had Taylor last time, but it's all good.
Well, I wasn't here for Taylor, so I enjoyed your company, and it's easy to talk with someone who has all kinds of stories. Like we could be we could be half a bottle of whiskey and 5 cigars and still be here.
Then you get the real
Yeah,
goods, the
yeah.
real deep stuff. Then
We'll have the janitorial staff kicking us out.
it's all good.
But I want to thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Maybe we'll bring it remote. We'll see you on one of the holes and
There you go.
catch up on the course.
Okay, thanks, fellas.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your
Problem.
time.
It was great. Thank you.